Nedostatak kadrova u IT-u je globalni fenomen. Međutim, poznavaoci ove industrijske grane napominju kako je u cijelom sektoru zaposlen veoma mali broj žena. Žene čine svega 1/4 globalne radne snage u IT-u. Samo 5% žena vlasnice su nekog startapa u Silikonskoj dolini, a 11% ih je na izvršnim pozicijama u IT kompanijama. No vremena se mijenjaju. U posljednjih 10 godina broj žena poduzetnica porastao je za 20%, a očekuje se da će u ovoj industriji do 2024. biti otvoreno više od 1.000.000 pozicija. Mnoge organizacije i pojedinci pokušavaju promijeniti status quo, uključujući više žena u tehnologiju, nauku, inženjerstvo i matematičke poslove. Među njima je i Imafidon, osnivačica organizacije Stemettes, koja inspiriše mlade žene da se aktivno uključe u ova naučna područja. S njom je razgovarala Neira Kozarić.
Proglašena je 7. najutjecajnijom ženom u IT sektoru 2017. godine. Studirala je na Oxfordu, a sa samo 11 godina položila je GCSE ispite iz matematike i informacionih tehnologija. Bila je wunderkind, a danas pomaže djevojčicama da pronađu mjesto u područjima STEM. Kako je biti žena u IT-u i kako postaći djevojčice da se zainteresuju za STEM, razgovarali smo sa Imafidon.
So my interest actually started at about 4 years old. So my dad had a computer in the house that he was using for his research, and he let me play on, it was Word 3.0 at that point. So I typed this story of Little Red Riding Hood, but I changed the hood from red to purple because I like purple more. And it was probably rubbish because I was 4, just kind of typing, but saved the Word doc, kind of went to bed and then came back the next day, and my Word doc that I'd made with my version of the story was still in the computer. So for me, the most exciting thing about technology is that you can make things that other people can consume, other people can see. You know, it makes me laugh to think that if you go and find that computer today, you open it up, then my story is still there in that computer. Only when I was about 16 that I realised I could have a job or a career where someone would pay me to play with technology. So it's quite an exciting space to be in, you know, as a person, as a woman as well, where it is about creating, but you're creating things that more and more people are able to use. So, you know, 25 or so years ago, you didn't have the web. You know, technology was something that was just in labs, people were developing, and it was all science fiction. And now, you know, driverless cars are coming up. We've got virtual reality. There's so many cool things that are happening that people are using. You know, Facebook is a household name now. And so it's quite an exciting space to be in. It's quite dynamic, it's very innovative, but it feels like now is technology's time. So the idea from Stemettes came after I'd been working in industry for about 3 years, full time, and I was sent to go and speak at a conference in the States. And it just so happened that this conference was for women in computing, and I kind of arrived there not knowing and kind of looked around. It was 3,500 women. They were all women in computing, all as passionate about technology as I was. And it was a great feeling. It was almost like, you know, when you have Fashion Week and you've got the shows and you've got the after parties, and it was like that, but for technology, which is amazing, right? And you know, I've always loved technology, always loved working in it, but I'd never had that sense that, you know, I'm part of something special, part of something bigger. So kind of heard about that, but also heard about the problem that we have with women's representation in the industry, and so decided to come home and do something about it and maybe recreate that environment for girls and young women. So at least, even if they're growing up in society where the norms tell them that it's not something that girls do, not something that women do, you know, girls are bad at maths, all that kind of stuff that we kind of subliminally are told, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. How amazing would it be to create this environment where you can almost suspend reality. And in that moment, in that weekend, you've got 50 young women, girls from all over, loads of different backgrounds, coding together or making together or creating together or exploring science and investigating together. So that's the kind of premise. Everything that we do is free for the girls, it's always fun, and there's always food. It's about creating, so we inspire them by creating those environments where they are able to explore uninhibited, and they're able to get creative, they're able to see how technology can help you to help others, which for a lot of girls, that kind of altruism is what drives them. We take these girls to big tech companies and they've never been, out of their part of town before, and they come and they see it, and it's, wonderful spaces to work in. Weirdly, the toilet is always a highlight of their, it's funny, we were talking about highlight earlier, it's funny that toilets is always the highlight of their tours, but they get to see it, and they get to see it up close, and most important, they get to see themselves in that environment. Girls going on and becoming award winners and entering more STEM competitions, and more now as well, becoming STEM role models themselves. So they've come along, they've been enthused, and they go and they tell others, and they might set up opportunities for other girls that they have around them, or they might come back with a group and continually they spread the word. So we're seeing a great uptick, but more importantly, at the societal level, we're seeing more of a change in that social norm. So more stories are coming out, more people are talking about these girls and young women. There's this thing of, I am a Stemette. The perception and the confidence that we have of these girls and young women. And so their perception of what it is to work in a technical field, there's a perception that you need to be a genius. And not many people are proud enough to say that I'm good at maths, or not many people have the confidence to say I'm good at maths, or I'm good at technology, or I'm good at solving problems. So it's those kind of two things that play, but the things that drive it, it's a norm that permeates everything. So if we look at the toys that we give babies to play with, if it's a baby girl, you might give her the doll, or if it's a baby boy, you might get him to play with trucks or with building things. So it goes from that right through to school, when you're picking your options and your choices of your subjects, and you don't want to pick the ones that you might fail at. So this is kind of fear of failure that then comes through, which affects the girls disproportionately to affecting the boys. Or whether it's teachers, whether it's parents, whether it's peers, that's a boys thing. You want to get your hands dirty. So there's all of these messages that they continuously have, and the industry has a lot to account for as well, in terms of its communication of what they do, but also how the kind of culture that they have and how inclusive that culture is. Because it's one part of the problem to attract girls and young women, and it's another thing to retain women when they stay in industry. There's all kinds of roles that different sections of society and outside of society have to do. So we have to look at our recruitment practices, we have to tap into best practice, and there's great examples that are coming out of market makers here in Bosnia, who of course are supported by the Swiss government. So there's so much that we need to do in terms of the toys that we buy for our children. Christmas is coming up. Look at making sure that you're buying Legos maybe for your nieces, and then buying, I don't know if it's dolls for your nephews, but the uses of pink and all those kinds of things in what we're buying for our children. But also making sure that we take an active role in sharing those stories of women that we know that are working in industry.